What's up, everybody? Are you bad at handling money? Do you just not have as much money as you would like to have? Do you
Yeah.
just stink when it comes to money? Well, today's video, we're going to be talking about how to master money. This is the Existential Stoic Podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Yeah, so this is something that I think a lot of people want, but nobody actually does. Everyone wants to be rich, but most people are just broke or worse, in debt.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would like to just have not be broken in debt too. I think that'd be good too. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, and it's tough for Americans because you start out in a system, you know nothing about money. Your parents don't teach you about money. School doesn't teach you about money. But all of them tell you have to go to university, and you can't go to a local college because
No,
that's a local college. Who goes there? You got to go some prestige name brand school, end up
80K a
paying fifty
year.
thousand dollars a year. You graduate with an undergraduate degree that's worthless, and then you own $250,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not to mention too, I think it's like this country too. Everybody's in debt. Everyone. So it's like even the country is in
hmm
serious debt. So it's like very hard to like have any idea of money. It's just very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for our listeners, today we're going to be
Very
talking about
lucky.
how to master money. I think this is something that I've gotten a lot better at over life. It took one of my friends telling me that I'm absolutely terrible with money for me to kind of start to get it together. Like that was a moment where I was like, "Ouch!" But that's true. I need to
That
learn
hurt.
this
But
stuff.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I've gotten better
So
at it over time. Yeah.
yeah. So we're each going to share three quick fixes. I'll go first. My first one is what gets measured gets managed. And this, I'm going to use one of the bad words of money that nobody likes. It's called budgeting. And here's the crazy thing: you don't even need to budget really. If you just monitor
No.
where your money goes, like for me, I do budget, but I also every expense that I
Yeah.
have, I write it down. If you just did that, you would start to see where your money goes, and it would start to incur a little bit of pain when you're spending, because then
Yeah.
instead of you just being like, oh, it's just $1, oh, it's just $2, oh, it's just $4, you're like, oh, I gotta write it down again. Forget it, I don't
Yeah.
want that.
It's funny when you first told me about that, I remember I started doing it. It is really effective. It's like surprisingly funny because it also just makes you more aware. Because I was thinking about that too, because like I think in the past, before everything went digital, people used to have a checkbook and they used to balance it and they used to keep track of it. You had to because you wouldn't know what was in your account because the banks weren't processing things that fast. So it was like necessary, but that all kind of stopped. And then it's like, yeah, you could check it on your phone, but it's like there's a disconnect, I think. When you write it down, it's different. And it really does work. Yeah, I think that's a really good one. Super easy. I like that. Yeah. My first one is a little different. It's focus on doing what's good for you, what interests you. And I think this is important because a lot of times we talk about, you know, being better with money, mastering money, we forget about also like pursuing things that we really want because if we're happy, we're not gonna waste the money too and shop for because we're depressed or be stressed out and not have the capacity to focus and know what we're doing. So I think really kind of trying to make your life right for you is also part of this and necessary if you really want to master it.
That's a great one, and I think that one is so undervalued. People don't even question why money is so
Yeah.
necessary, because it's really not. It like
Yeah.
reminds me of that story about the guy who went on vacation in Mexico or something like that, and he's on the beach and he sees someone fishing down there, and he goes up to him and he's like, hey, if you got really good at that, you could get some friends together, you could start a little fishing company, then after like 5-10 years you could have like the
Yeah.
biggest fishing conglomerate in all of Mexico. After that, 30 years later, you retire, and then you can do whatever you want. And the guy's like, why would I do that? I spend my day fishing here. I go drink, play guitar with friends later. Like, why do I need to do all this stuff for the next 30 years so I can just
Yeah.
enjoy my life now? And yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people miss that because they're like, I have to make money, instead of just being like, I have to enjoy my life. If you enjoy your life, the
Yeah.
money will likely come.
Yeah. I think too many of us miss that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my next one is another very, very important one that a lot of people don't get. It's called live below your mean. So
Yeah.
I think it was Franklin or someone like that. He's like, if you earn $100 and spend $98, you will be entirely happy. But if you earn $100 and spend $102, you're going to be miserable. And it's like, it is simple math, but it's like the math that we didn't learn. We spent all these years learning trigonometry and geometry and calculus and all this stuff that's garbage that doesn't matter, when really the simple arithmetic
Yeah.
is of, if you just save more money than you actually spend, if you earn more money than you spend and you save the latter of it, well, then you're going to do great.
You know, it's such a good one. And for the longest time, I never did that. I always made probably like I always way spent like overspent, completely. I think a lot of people do, especially when you're young. But I think it's because it's hard too, like it's hard to like in the moment, you just want a coffee or you want something to eat and you don't want to think about all that. And it's depressing and you're stressed and you haven't thought about it before. So it seems so overwhelming. But it's like the funny thing is once you start looking at it, actually it's pretty easy to start getting it under control. And then you feel even better because then you're not just blowing money and you actually have control over it and more control in your life. I like that one. I think it's good.
Yeah. And plus, most people don't even know how much money they have, how much money they make,
Yeah.
how much money they spend. So they're just kind of like ballparking it until they get an alert from their bank. They've been overdrawn like 5 times this month. And not only they spend more money than they have, but now they owe the bank $100 for 5 overdraws or something like that.
Oh, I know. That's like the worst thing too, is they get everybody that way. Especially if you always play it close, you'll always get caught with it. It sucks. Yeah. It's a good one. It goes nicely too, I think, with my second one, which is, and this kind of goes with my first one, but know what matters to you and what you value. I think this is the other side of it, is like we think of money, we think of like budgeting, we think of that, but we forget that it's really about what our values are, what's important. Do you really care about having those shoes? Do you really care about getting the next game now and it's brand new and costs the most it will cost? Like, do you care about, what really matters to you? What do you really need? And using that to help you guide your spending so that you're not just like wasting money. Because I think too much of it is like, out of other reasons that we spend it.
Dude, a lot of people are just busy buying things that
Yeah.
they didn't even want, but they were just advertised to, and they're like, I gotta have that, or I gotta keep up with the Joneses. Like, funny story, at the co-working place where I go, there's this one dude there. I've been paying attention for the past 3 weeks. When I first noticed it, he has not worn the same pair of shoes again. So he has over 21 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm still counting because I'm like, this is incredible. Like, he's just every day, just new pair of shoes. And yeah, so people spend
Think about what
I
that costs. Like, hey, if he really likes shoes, that's cool. That's up to him. But
dude, and they're not cheap ones. They're like Air Jordans and like, yeah, definitely.
But that's just it, though, right? If that really matters to you, great, do it then if it makes you happy. But if does it really matter to you? That's the question, Yeah.
Yeah, it's all whatever values. So that's a good one. My last one is counterintuitive. Okay, this one, a lot of people are going to say no way. But every time I've done this, I end up making back way more money than anything I ever did.
No way.
So, yeah, way. So the last one is be generous. And it's totally counterintuitive, but it's just, the way that I look at it is like, you can't get anything without giving. And really, if you want to get something, you should start giving it first. So just like when I used to live in Philadelphia, I would just keep $1 bills in my back pocket because there's always people asking for money on the corner. And I used to be very curmudgeonly, very stingy about my money. Be like, no way. Like, I saw you here asking for money yesterday. You're going to ask 2 days in a row? No, absolutely not. And then one day I was just like, what the heck? Like, it's $1. What am I going to do with $1?
Yeah.
And so I just started carrying them in my back pocket, and just when they'd ask, I just give it to them. And you feel a lot more open, but also like I noticed that a lot more money started flowing towards me. And then I've always noticed that whenever I up my give, the amount that's coming back increases as well. And I think it's kind of like this mentality where if you're trying to hold on to your money, you have this closed fist and you can hold it, but no more money can enter. Whereas if you have like an open palm, yeah, sure, you give money away, but a lot more can enter it. And I think it's kind of a spiritual principle that goes along with money.
No, I think you're on something there too, because there's probably a lot of psychological factors as well, right? Like, you're being generous, you're you're in a position to help other people. You're also getting perspective on your situation, which probably like is useful and keeps you in a positive attitude and all and keeps you going, which probably helps you, do more too. And I think it's just like that's really good. Yeah. And I think too many people are the opposite, where they just like treat all those people like they don't exist, they don't matter. And it's like you can totally, it's such an easy thing and it doesn't cost a lot. You're right. Like it could be $1, it could be a quarter. I mean,
Mhm.
and that's something. So it could be, oh, you always have something you can give. I think that's a good one. I like that. Be a better world. Yeah, and then my last one is invest in your own growth. And I think this is like crucial because I think, for most of us, we blow money and we don't do anything to make our situation better. But if we invest in ourselves, whether it's learning new skills or whether it's, taking time to actually relax and not be stressed and worried, whatever, you can actually make your life a lot better and you'll get more money because you'll be in a better position to make it.
Dude, that one, I think that one is so critical and so overlooked. Like most people are like, what's the best investment that I can
Yeah.
make? Do I buy Tesla? Do I buy Apple? Do I buy cryptocurrencies? Do I buy a house? Do I buy a new car? Like what's the best investment? Do I flip yard sale stuff? And it's just like, no, actually the best investment is investing in yourself. And it's shown time and time again from like the world's richest people, like both Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, two of the richest people on earth, they were asked if you could have any superpower, and this includes like being invisible, being able to
Yeah.
fly, all these like insane strength. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? And both of them said the ability to read faster, the
Yeah.
ability to invest in themselves and learn more. Like these are the two
Yeah.
richest guys. If you want to be one of the richest guys in the world, you might want to model the two richest guys in the world.
Well, it's funny too. Whenever people are asking, like, what should I invest in Tesla or whatever, just say it's too late. If you're asking that, it's too late. Like
Yeah.
it's too late. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. It is true. It's always I want to do. Yeah, you gotta invest in yourself and get there. Nice.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, so that in a nutshell
Yeah.
is how to master money. Just six quick
Woo.
tips that could help you get a little bit further down the road. Danny and I are still learning as well, but you can learn along with us. And
We
maybe we can
try.
all get a little bit smarter, make the world a better place. So that's all for
Good.
today's episode of the Existential Stoic podcast, How to Master Money. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Randy.